Hello, good morning, Roseville. Oh, there we go.
Good
I can't see me.
I can see you.
How's everyone doing today?
Good morning.
I heard Darth
Hi,
Vader for a second.
happy Monday/Tuesday. How's everyone's weekend?
Good.
Good.
What do you have? One person on with us? Just
There we go. It wasn't working. Good morning.
Here's Gina.
Where's your beautiful faces? I'm talking to black squares besides
Lisa,
Gina.
Jody.
Hey, Chad. Good
Oh,
morning.
there's Chad. Woo!
Hello, hello.
Coffee.
We need some music.
I know I don't have my pump up music today. I'm slacking, guys.
Do you want us to sing for you? Or
I'll do
do
my
that?
Let me
You know
find
what?
something.
So,
Let's see
a
what
really
we have
good
on my
friend of mine
phone.
is a part of Six Appeal. I don't know if you guys know them. They're an a cappella group. And so they used to do a lot of sessions at John's school to teach the kids how to beatbox.
Oh,
So do you know how to start beatboxing? It's actually quite interesting.
Here we
Say
go.
boots and cats.
Boots and
And then you go
cats.
boots and cats and boots. Cats, boots, cats, boots.
Nice work.
That's your
All right.
beatboxing lesson
So
for
for
this
your next
Tuesday.
event, we do rent her out.
Oh, it's so fun.
You could do like prom or something.
What's that?
Oh, here we go. We got it. Thank you. I have no rhythm.
Chair dance.
No, you like it or not?
Yes. Go
Okay.
for it.
I'd be getting eye rolls from my teenager right now.
All right, guys. Well, Claire is on the call and I want to honor her time here with us today. So Claire, welcome and thank you so much for joining our call today. I'm so excited to hear from you.
Hi,
If you want to take
everyone.
a moment to introduce yourself to everybody.
Sure, absolutely. So, do I have permission to share my screen here?
You do, yep.
Okay, great.
Well, actually, whoops, sorry. Let us stop ours. There we go. Now you do.
Okay, awesome. All right. Good morning. How are you all?
Good, good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. So my weeks start on Tuesday. So my Tuesdays always feel like Mondays. So you all are my first call of the day, which is awesome for me. And loving getting to see your faces. All right. I see one familiar face. Hi, Chad. Okay, great. And so we have Heather, who I know I've gotten to talk to. Great. So my name is Claire Bohne, and I am a MAPS business coach. And I'm curious, does anyone on this call have a MAPS real estate coach that you work with in your real estate business? Okay, a few hands, awesome. So Andrew and Paul, and then for the rest of you, have you heard of MAPS coaches for real estate agents, right? So I am a MAPS business coach, and we are actually sort of a sister company to the MAPS real estate coaches. And what we get to do is work with folks who own businesses outside of KW. So instead of working with KW associates and leadership, we're working with folks who are in the real estate adjacent world sometimes, like title, lenders, inspectors, photographers, things like that. But then also people who are really not at all related to real estate, like dentists and restaurant owners and things like that. And so my mission really is to help people build a bridge between where they are and who they are. And what I have found is that when we look in the real estate world, you all tend to have a lot of community, right? And I come from a KW background. I was a productivity coach at the Austin Southwest Market Center. And then I moved into a role coaching Wendy and Jay Papazian's team, which is operating out of Austin, which is where I'm from. And so what we see is that agents typically have a lot of community through their market center and then just through the real estate industry as a whole. Whereas other folks like dentists don't tend to have the same type of community and support and can feel a lot more lonely. And so we get to partner with those business people and business owners and really help them in the same way that a MAPS real estate coach would help you in your real estate business. And so that is what I do day to day. And I'm also a head coach within our company, which means I get to coach our newer coaches and help them, sort of like what a productivity coach does in a KW market center. So I'm super excited to be here with you all today. And Heather, that was kind of my intro. Is there anything we need to do before we jump into content? Yeah, good. Okay, let's do it. So today we are really talking about tips and tricks with GPS and 411. And my understanding was that you all were going to be sent a couple of resources. Did you all see the two videos, one about the GPS and one about the 411 that Jeff Woods created? Were those sent out to you all? Did anyone get a chance to look at those? Paul, my favorite. Okay, well, let me ask this way. Who currently has a GPS in their business? Okay, Andrew, Chad, the other Andrew. We have multiple Andrews. Heather, although Heather's name is Heather Eddington, and I know we only have one of those. Okay, and what about a 411? Who's using a 411?
Yeah, Jackie is.
Both hands for Heather. I love it. She's like 411 here and here. Okay, great. And that's actually how Heather found me, is she messaged me and said, I watched your 411 chat. Can we bring that to our market center? So really, there are a lot of things that I think keep people from using those tools effectively. Either we know what they are, but we're not using them at all, or we've put them in place in our business, but they're not really working for us. Or for some people, sometimes they can be working for us, and there's just a few little things that might enhance the experience that you're having with them. So our objectives today, we're really just gonna focus in on identifying for you, or how to identify what it is that matters most in your life. And you'll notice it says life, right? Not business, because business is one piece of your life. But we know that the purpose of your business is to fund your life, not the other way around. The purpose of life is not to live in your business. And so that's what we're going to focus on first and foremost. We're also going to talk about those misconceptions and kind of the pitfalls that keep these tools from working for folks at a really high level, and then really make sure that they're working for you. And so today we have 24 more minutes together, and this is actually a 4-hour class that we're going to be going through in just this half hour. And so we're going to be doing sort of like the high level skim speed version of it, and then I'll leave it to you to really dive deeper into these practices and seek out, additional support. I'm going to be available. I'll share my email. I'll be available to you, and I'm sure your leadership is available to point you to different resources as well. Okay, so 80-20 principle. Show of hands, who's familiar, right? I feel like this is like the one thing that more than anything becomes really common language within KW. Is anyone who's on this call relatively new to KW, maybe in your first 3 months? Okay, Elena, is that how you say your name?
Alina.
Alina. Okay, I love it. I want to be corrected with names.
Quite a few of our new agents on the call this morning.
Say that again.
We have quite a few of our new agents on the call this morning.
Marvelous.
Wow.
So for those of you who are newer to KW and or just not familiar with this concept at all or at a deep level, what we know is that the 80-20 principle really applies in all areas of our life. This isn't a business specific concept. And what it tells us is that 80% of the results that we get come from only 20% of the activity that we engage in. And what I'll encourage those of you to do who are newer to KW, or those of you who, if you were like me, have been with KW for some time but still haven't read the one thing. I don't know if anyone else was guilty of that, but yeah, Paul, high participation. I love it. Okay, so Paul's like, yeah, you're the 409th person to tell me to read it, and I still haven't read it. And yeah, someday you'll decide to. Maybe it'll be today, maybe it'll be a year and a half from now. I don't know. But
I tried. I really tried.
Yeah. Okay. And so it took me a while also to decide. But once I decided, it was sort of a relief. The concepts in the one thing feel relieving to me, right? Because what this principle suggests, and it wasn't Gary Keller, who wrote the one thing, didn't come up with this principle, but the one thing really takes this concept, which is called the Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 principle, and goes to the extreme version of it, right? Instead of thinking of 20%, we're actually going to narrow that down to just one thing. And we're going to say, what is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? And that's really the concept of that book. So highly recommend to those of you who are new and haven't read it, or those of you like Paul who are not new and haven't read it. Okay, and I'm equally guilty of having been one of those people. I was like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to become a productivity coach and lead people around these concepts. Perhaps I should know what they are, right? That's what caused me to actually read it back in the day. So the reason that I bring this up before we dive into these specific tools, which are called the GPS and 411, is that the purpose of those tools is really to help us simplify and clarify. Because I was mentioning that the one thing feels relieving to me, and that's because what it says is we don't have to do everything. We don't have to do all of the million things that are out there teasing us, taunting us. We don't have to do all of those things. We don't even have to do all the things that I wrote down on my to-do list, right? I can actually achieve my goals doing much fewer things than are typically written out for me to do. So what we talk about, the language we use oftentimes is to focus on our 20%, right? That 20% activity that's going to give us 80% results. And in the one thing, they'll refer to that as the one thing. So when we talk about identifying what our 20% is, or those most important things for us to achieve our goals, we really want to think through, how do we actually stay accountable to the activities that we've identified, right? And we know that accountability is something that we really do with someone else. Now, the reality is we are all self-accountable, right? Sometimes I'll hear objections from like new clients I'm taking on. They're like, I don't know, I'm an accountable person. Well, so am I. And it's really great news that you're self-accountable, right? And we all really tend to be more accountable to someone else. So we can have a certain level of accountability to ourselves, and then really supplement that or boost and enhance that through accountability with someone else. Now, when we think about how we engage in accountability with someone else, really numbers are what helps us to engage in that relationship or in that partnership, right? It helps things be objective and measurable so that we can actually see what kind of progress we're making towards our goal. We're going to dive into that in a deeper level here as we go through today. So what we use the GPS and then specifically the 411 to do, and for those of you that are like, you've said the word 411, 20 times at this point, and I still don't know what that is, we're going to explain it, I promise. So what the 411 helps us to do is help us be aware of our metrics so that we can be accountable to ourselves, but then also communicate those metrics to someone else, whether that's your real estate coach, whether that's an accountability partner that you have, right? Whatever that accountability relationship is that you choose for your life or for your business, this tool helps us to really remain clear about where it is that we want to go and where we are in that process. So what we want to think about as we are moving down this path of goal setting, right? Which I bet, here we are in January of a new year. I don't know about you, but a lot of the time when we get to a new year, I'm like, this actually just feels like a continuation of last year. Like, it's supposed to say, fresh, whatever, but I'm like, all the years are the same. This year, I was actually like, oh, this actually might feel like a new year. And so when we are choosing our goals, right, which sometimes we think about in terms of New Year's resolutions, or maybe you've made a business plan for this new year, we really want to think about like, which area of my life am I focused on as I choose these goals? And so these 7 circles come straight out of the One Thing book. And so you will, for those of you that haven't read it, when you do, you'll get to engage with these and hear some really great stories from Gary about these different circles and why they're meaningful. And which ones really to prioritize, or how to decide which ones you're prioritizing. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take an area of life and we're going to, instead of just saying like, well, what are my New Year's resolutions for this year, right? Or what is my goal to reach by the end of this year? What we actually want to do is we want to zoom way out into the future of your life. Gary Keller talks a lot about how time is really arbitrary, right? And Gary operates in the goals that he set for his life. He calls it his life plan. And then he also operates like in this moment, right? And so what we want to do is we don't want to get too focused actually on setting like an annual goal. We're going to do that. And that's actually what the GPS is going to help us do. But really what we want to make sure of is that when we're setting a goal, it is based on the broader picture of our life and where we want to go in our life. So the goal setting to the now process is something that that really asks this question of what is our someday goal, and then actually works backwards into today. And you'll see down here, of course, I just hit it with my mouse. There is a link at the bottom here for a kick-ass guide to goal setting. That's something that you can really easily Google your way to. And if I try and click on this, let me fix this so that we can actually see it and it doesn't get covered up by, here we go. So if you Google this, this is a free tool that the One Thing offers, and it will actually take you through this process of goal setting to the now. So this is where I recommend that you all begin your journey with goal setting. And what I will do here is pop that link into the chat so you all have that, have access to that. And so you can head there and then just download that PDF and start there, okay? Now, what I also really recommend thinking about and doing, for those of you that are familiar with the One Thing community, you will know that every year they actually have a couples goal setting retreat. And so I highly recommend that, and that will come later in 2021. But for those of you that haven't gone through and really set some goals with your spouse or your partner, for those of you that have one, I really recommend doing that. Sitting down with them and saying like, where do we want to be, right? This isn't just an exercise for you alone in your real estate business, but where do you want to be in your life, and how does your partner or your children, how do they actually participate in that process, okay? All right. So what we're going to do through this process of goal setting to the now, right? Our bottom bullet point down here is it says, what's your 1-year goal? Meaning, in order for us to be on track for this life plan that you've chosen, what do we need to do this year in order to make sure that you've reached sort of the mile marker that suggests that you're on track? Now, when you've gotten that answer, what we're going to do is we're actually going to translate that to a GPS. A GPS, those letters stand for goal, priority, and strategy. And you'll see all of those things here listed on this page. So goal, priority, and strategy. Some of you that have been with KW for a little bit longer may know this is a 1-3-5. That's kind of the language that we used to use. So a 1-3-5 or GPS. 1-3-5 again coming from 1 goal, 3 priorities, and 5 strategies for each one. So what you'll want to do is go through, make your GPS. You're going to make everything SMART, right? Show of hands, who's familiar with SMART goals, right? We have specific, measurable, action. Okay, that's like all the hands, right? Relevant, time bound. And then as you look at this GPS, every GPS looks a little bit different. This is the one that I have my clients use. We have the strategy, we have the frequency, and then we have the owner. So our strategy might be to call people, right? Lead generate for our real estate business. The frequency might be 20 people per day. And then the owner is, who is it that's actually going to be doing that? Is it you? Is there someone else in your organization who's responsible for that? Maybe you have a GPS for your whole household, and so the owner could be you or your spouse or your child, right? Maybe this is the year that your kiddo is going to start doing laundry or loading the dishwasher. So those things could actually go here. Who's going to own that job? Now, we're not going to spend really any more time talking about the GPS today. My experience is that people don't need that much help with the GPS. What happens is oftentimes, maybe some of you can relate to this, we will create a GPS. I did this for like 3 years. We'll create a GPS, we'll go to a business planning clinic, we'll have our whole plan, and then we'll like put it in a drawer. And at the end of the year, we'll be like, oh, look at this plan that I made. That looked like good things that I could have done. I didn't do really almost any of these, and I didn't hit my goal. Has anyone experienced anything like that, where you take the time to do the plan? Yep, right? And so it's not so much making the plan that seems to be what trips people up. It's really more that then it doesn't help us. And there tend to be 2 reasons it doesn't help us. Either the goal was arbitrary, right? It wasn't actually connected to our life plan. We said, I want to make $100,000 in my real estate business, or I want to hire my first buyer's agent or whatever. And it's not actually related to anything that we really deeply care about. So we've chosen a goal and we take no action on it because it has no true meaning to us. That's why we start with goal setting to the now instead of starting with our 1-year goal. Okay. The second reason is just because we don't take any action on it, usually because we forget to. So that is where the 411 comes in. Okay, this is an example of a 411. And after we have our GPS, we're going to take what's on our GPS and we're going to translate it to our 411. So 411, here's the moment where all of you are like, okay, now I'm going to find out what it actually means. Stands for 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. Okay. So we're taking this annual plan that we've created and we're saying, okay, what needs to happen on a monthly basis and on a weekly basis in order for us to end the year and have nailed that goal. Now I'm going to flip through a couple more slides, and what you're going to see is different examples of how a 411 can look. Okay, so what's on your screen right now? That's how your 411 could look. We have our annual goals at the top, then our monthly goals, then our weekly goals. This is another way that your 411 could look. This is broken up by different pieces of your GPS, right? We could have one that looks like this. There's no one right way for your 411 to look. There's not a one right form. And something I'm going to offer to you at the end of our time today is a couple of templates that you can start with and then customize to be your own. Because when you try and sort of force yourself into a template that someone else has created, my experience is that there can be friction with different things just based on your own preferences, how your mind works, how your weeks work, and all of that. So we're going to dig into that. The one that you see in front of you is actually the one that I use. This is how I like for mine to look. Okay. Now, a few, and by a few, I actually mean a lot. We have 2 whole slides of tips, tricks, and misconceptions. Okay. Because I told you I have multiple years of having a GPS, having a plan, and then not doing it. And the reason I didn't do it is because I knew the 411 existed, but I specifically intentionally resisted it. Much like reading the one thing. I was like, everyone says I should use this and I'm not going to. And the reason that I didn't, the primary reason, is that I really had a lot of misconceptions about it. And what I have come to learn through teaching this class is that my misconceptions were not mine alone, right? We have a saying that we say often at MAPS Business Coaching, which is that that which is most personal is most universal. Right? Not our quote, but we say it often. So when you're experiencing something, probably a lot of other people are too. So a few things to think about as you start building your 411 is that we really want to prioritize. When we think about our GPS, we actually have 15 strategies, 15 things we're going to do for just that part of our life. That could be just your real estate business has 15, just your marriage has 15, right? We can end up with a lot of strategies. So when we're translating all of that down to our 411, we really want to prioritize and say, if I were to just pick one of these, one thing for my whole business, what would it be? One thing for my whole personal world, what would it be? Right? And when you read the one thing and we think about them as dominoes within our 7 circles, it's like, what's my one domino? That if I do this thing, right, it makes the next thing easier or unnecessary. That's what gets prioritized. The next thing is really to focus on activities, not results. And that comes in with SMART goals, right? The A of SMART is action-oriented rather than results-oriented. And yet we tend to think in terms of results. So we want to think about, what is it that I actually control? That's the action. Okay, that's the thing I'm going to do. I don't control the result directly. I can control it through the amount of action. I can control it through the way that I engage in the activity. But all I can actually control is the thing that I'm doing. I cannot force my body to do something, my client to do something, right? So I'm going to focus on that activity. The next thing to really make sure of is that you're only putting your 20% on your 411. This was probably the primary reason that I didn't use one for so long, is I was like, I already use checklists. Like, why would I have another checklist? I have checklists for days, right? This is not a checklist. This is a must-do list. This is your success list. It's not all the stuff you could do. It's the stuff that you need to do in order to hit your goal. So checklists or to-do lists, still appropriate to have in your life. It's not that those are wrong or bad. It's just that they're separate. Okay, they're not part of this tool. The next thing is not to fill in next week until you have completed this week. So if we look at a 411, right? And we sit down and we create this at the beginning of a month, sometimes people will go ahead and say, okay, well, this week I'm going to do all of this stuff. Next week I'm going to do this stuff. The week after that, and the week after that, right? And it tends to look very repetitive. It's just sort of like copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. We don't know what you're doing next week until we know what you've done this week, because we don't know if you were ahead, behind, or exactly on track, right? So the things that we said we were going to do this week that we didn't get to, we're going to move those to next week. The things that we got way ahead on, maybe we take next week off. Like, I earned a vacation, right? I earned a day sitting around and reading my fiction book because I'm ahead of where I need to be in my business. So we're not filling next week out until this week is over. The next thing is to choose your own week cycle, meaning everyone, especially in real estate, right? Like, do you all take off Saturday and Sunday? No? Right. Okay. So you get to pick, right? If you're taking off Wednesdays, then maybe your weeks run Thursday to Wednesday. So you decide how your week runs. Okay. Your week doesn't have to be Sunday to Saturday or Monday to Sunday or whatever it is. And Heather, we have a little bit more than I'm going to get through probably in 3 minutes. If we go a bit over, is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. The next thing is customize it, right? Make it your own. This is a spreadsheet that I will send you that has all, whoops, I need to zoom way out here. This has a bunch of 411 templates, right? Some of the ones that we've seen. And so you can come here and play with these and think about which ones would work for you the most, and then take those and change them, right? It's really up to you how you want to engage in this. It could be electronic. My 411 is actually paper. And I put like stickers on it, like adult stickers. It makes me happy, right? I'm like, I did it. And I get to put my sticker on it, right? I'm like a, fully grown woman who's like, sign me up for the gold star that I'm going to put on my item. It motivates me. It makes it happy and fun. So you figure out what works for you. And then look at your 411 daily. It's really important that we aren't waiting until the end of your week, however you define that week, to see where you are, because then it's kind of too late, right? If you sit down on, like if you're Paul, right, and your week runs Thursday to Thursday, which is technically an 8-day week, so we might need to think about that. But okay, so if your week runs on Thursdays and you sit down on Thursday to make your 411, and then you don't check it again until your week is over, you're going to be behind more than likely, right? And then you've got a whole week to make up for and roll over to next week. And now you've got to do twice as much next week as you were supposed to do this week that you didn't do this week. So check it every single day, multiple times a day. Figure out where to put it that works for you. For me, it's on my desk, okay? Now, this is a page that I made, and I'll send this to you as well. It's a page from my annual planner. And what it does is it actually helps me migrate what's on my 411 to my daily focus, right? I have a section for my one thing. What's the one thing I need to do today to win my day, right? Gary Keller tells us, win your day by noon, have a perfect day by noon. Okay. And then I have my 20% success list. That's coming straight from my 411. And then I have an 80% to-do list. And if I get through my day and I checked off the one thing and nothing else, awesome. If I get through my day and I've checked off my one thing and my 20% success list, more awesome. And if I get through and I don't check anything off for my 80%, that's fine. It's not the most important. So this is a whole planner I have where I fill these out each day, and I'd be happy to send that to anyone who would like to see it. Okay, last group of tips and tricks is front load, meaning front load your month, front load your week. When we look at our energy levels, our focus levels, they tend to be highest at the beginning of our week, especially when we have a fluffy puppy around to lick us and say, get back on track like Paul does. So we want to say, if I'm going to do X amount of an activity this week, perhaps it's, those 20 lead gen conversations every day, which would equal 100 in a week. We don't actually need to do 20 a day always, right? Sometimes it actually makes more sense to do 40 on a day where our clients are less available for showings, we're doing less negotiation. Instead of saying like, I'm going to do a little bit every single day, if you know that your Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays are way more out in the field, then maybe you don't do any lead gen those days, right? And you front load your week so that the other days of the week are when you're engaging in those activities. The next thing is to use a checkbox and an actual. So if you look at this, you'll see that at the front of the week, we have a checkbox, and at the end of the week, we have parentheses for our actuals. Meaning if I said I was going to have 100 calls this week and I have either 100 or more, I'm going to check my box and I'm going to write the exact number that I had for the actuals. Because if I got way ahead this week, the next week, I don't have to do as many, right? And so we want to keep track of that. The reason I like the checkbox is that if you did 100 and, or if you did, 15 calls versus if you did 98 calls, either way, you're not checking this box, but the actual helps us see that like 98 meant you were this close to getting to check that box. 15 means we were nowhere near the mark, right? Some things can be measured subjectively. So not everything has to be perfectly smart. For example, for me, I've gone through a whole journey with how I track what I'm eating. And what I've landed on is asking myself, do I feel good about the food that I ate today? Right? And it used to be that I counted calories. That was super measurable. But what happened was I was eating a bunch of French fries and pasta and just eating very little of them. I actually lost a lot of weight doing that, but it wasn't great for my body, right? It got me focused on the thing that really wasn't the most sustainable, right? And then I went to, okay, well, this is how many days I eat quote unquote clean, and this is how many days I cheat. And then I just became obsessed with how many days that was. And now it's totally subjective. Do I feel good about the choices that I made today? Right? So most of the things on our 411 are going to be very objective. They're going to be super smart. But if you have something that you're not sure how to make it smart, then it just comes down to really being honest with yourself as you answer that question of, was this how I wanted to spend my day? Next thing is anytime we're tempted to change our goal, get a second opinion from a really big thinker that's around you, okay? Maybe your team leader or maybe a peer who just sets really big goals. It is totally appropriate that we change the strategies and sometimes the priorities for how we're going to get to our goal as we go through the year. And we said, I thought this thing was going to work, but it's not really working, so I'm going to try it this way instead. But when we're thinking about changing our goal, that's something we really, really, really want to scrutinize and sit with and say, am I changing this because I'm off track or because it's uncomfortable, right? Or am I changing it because I somehow got clarity that my big picture of life goal isn't going to be achieved through me achieving this year's goal? It's typically that we're behind and we're uncomfortable. So really be careful before you do that. Have fun is a bullet point on here, right? Sometimes it can feel like our goals or our 411 or whatever it is are dictating our life. And we're like a slave to these things. And I say this out of my own experience of feeling that way sometimes. So remember that the purpose of these is to have fun. I actually build fun into my goals, right? It's like, I'm going to go and do this fun thing, and that's part of my goal for the month. This is meant for you to be living the life that you want to live and achieving your goals, not for you to be a slave to some like external thing that that dictates your life. You get to dictate your life through these tools. And then lastly, making sure that your calendar matches your goals. We have, these two tools that are going to tell us what we do in order to get there. But if we haven't specifically and purposefully carved out time to actually make those things happen, they're not going to happen. So what I do is the moment that I finish building out my 411, then I pull up my calendar and everything on my 411 gets translated to my calendar. Right? And sometimes that means canceling or rescheduling something that is less important. And that's just part of the process, is being flexible with what's already on my calendar and recognizing what really is most important. All right, so here are your next steps. First thing is Google or head to the chat and scroll up to where I pop that link for your kick-ass guide to goal setting from the One Thing, and use that to work backwards. What is my life plan? What has to happen in 10 years for me to get there? 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, right? We're going to build your GPS from that, and we're going to make it as smart as possible and identify who owns what, right? You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do your kids' laundry until they go to college, unless that's important to you and that's a conscious decision you're making, right? You don't have to pack their lunches. You don't have to pack your spouse's lunches. Like, you get to start filtering out all of this stuff that other people can do and saying, you're going to start owning this, right? And empower them to do it. Same within your business. Then we're going to translate it onto our 411 so that we have clarity on how we win our month and win our year, and make sure that our calendar is actually going to give us the time and space that we need to do that. This talks about creating your bunker. If you're not familiar with that language of bunker as it relates to your goals, you'll get to dive into that in the One Thing book. That's probably my favorite section. Is that true? Probably, yeah. Like, one of my very favorite parts of the One Thing book is making a bunker. For me, that's like closing and locking my door. Not just closing it, but closing it, closing the curtain, and then locking it, so that when someone decides that they're more important than the sign that says, you can't interrupt me right now, and they decide to just come in, they can't because it's locked, right? Visit your 411 every day, not just on a weekly basis. And then choose your partner. Is that hiring a coach? Is that your accountability partner peer in your market center? Like, who is that? Is that someone that you exercise with? Who is it that's going to help hold you accountable? And I would love to connect with you. You can head over to my LinkedIn page and you will find a podcast that I did with The One Thing about how to hold 411 meetings. If you have people who are reporting to you in your organization, that's a huge part. It was really my 20% when I coached Wendy and Jay Papazan's team is I held 411 meetings with all of our agents, right? They came with their 411, we went through it, and that was our weekly activity together. It was our weekly check-in. There's also a link to Effective 411s. That's a webinar that you can check out. And I'd just love to hear from you one-on-one. If you want to shoot me an email, I am Claire at mymapscoach.com. Be happy to send you a copy of the planner that I mentioned. If you'd like the link to see all of those 411 templates. And if anyone's interested in the 4-hour version of this class, then you can find me there. So I will pop my email in the chat box. That's where you can find me. And let me stop share so that I can see your faces in a bigger way. Okay, now you're not tiny anymore. And oh, and Heather's got 2 angles. Yes. I got 2 videos. I love it.
So much of me.
So as I mentioned, I am a business coach, and that means that when I know folks like you all who are looking for a real estate coach, I help refer them to a MAPS real estate coach. And then anyone who is really outside of that immediate KW space, I have the opportunity to coach them. And so if there's anyone that you know who is a photographer, inspector, anyone like that in your business who you believe is really growth oriented, who may benefit from having accountability and having some coaching, I would love the opportunity to connect with them and earn you some passive income. We have $100 per month in passive income for each client who works with one of our coaches. Not sure if you all are familiar with that, but it's like profit share, except for more predictable, right? Because you know exactly what it's going to look like each month. So I know we're a bit over. Oh, look, it's my face.
Now we get lots of you.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Oh, I have a funny story about getting that picture with Gary Keller. Can I tell it? Can I just?
Please do.
Okay. So we're in a class with Gary, right? We're getting trained to go out and teach this material for him, to our region. Or I was for our regions, for people from all over, right? And he finishes, and I wanted a picture with him really badly. And if anyone's been in a room with Gary, you know that as soon as he's done, he stands up and he bolts. Like, he doesn't hang around. So I said that as soon as we were done, I was going to stand up, run over to him. I had my phone on camera mode. I had someone who was going to take the picture, right? So he ends, and I stand up, and everyone starts clapping. So it looks like I'm giving him a standing ovation, but I'm the only one doing it. But really, I was just trying to get a picture, but it worked out, and then he left. All right, so any questions are about our actual material here that I can help with before I let you get back to your other programming?
Did anyone else stand up and clap?
No, I was the only one. Everyone was clapping and sitting, and it was very uncomfortable.
Losers.
And then I couldn't sit down, right? It was like I was committed, so I had to continue to stand and clap. Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for being here. Shoot me an email if you'd like any of those tools. And if there's anyone that you know that you think I might be a great match for coaching. All right. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Claire.
Joining us today.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, well, we have a few minutes left, so we have a few things to wrap up the back half of our meeting. So Raina with Cross Country Mortgage is with us today. Hello, Raina.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Awesome. Nice to see everybody. I just have to say, Alina, you have the same exact name as my daughter, spelled the same, pronounced the same. So I never see it, but when you said your name earlier today, I was like, ah, I love it. Well, very good. Well, I just wanted to say hello. I hope everybody is having a great 2021 so far. I have spoken to many people in the last couple of weeks just to talk about what are your goals, what do you want to work on? And the most common thing that may even fit in with our presentation today is that lots of people just want to do more on marketing and more on social media. And so we have this really great system that if you would like, I would be happy to send you an invite to, where it's basically like your own portal. It's everything that you want to know about mortgage. If you just want to have that education piece on your business as well. And it's co-branded too. So of course my team can pull it off for you and send it to you. Or if you're ever thinking about just little customized pieces that you want, you can always pop in and create those. And it takes 2 seconds. And we have hundreds and hundreds of already pre-made items in there. So if that's something that you're interested in, of course, it's free to you. I would be happy to get you set up on that and just get you started on those images as well. And that is our latest and greatest with our team. So let me know. I think everybody has my contact info, but of course, if you need it, just pop in a chat and I'll put my email in there too. That's all I have.
Fabulous. Thank you,
Yeah.
Raina.
You're very
Anybody have any
welcome.
questions for Raina? All right. Well, I'm going to let this little beauty queen over here take the floor.
Now that you're not blonde anymore. Thank you. All right, good morning. We're just going to run through a couple more things here as we've got a few minutes left, but just want to really point out, there's a great article here, Josh Team's New Year Outlook. So if you haven't had a chance to go into your Outfront, again, you can go to the outfront.kw.com, or you can also go to your MyKW, go to marketing, and then go to Outfront Magazine. When you go there, it'll allow you to subscribe, and you just put in your email address, and that'll get you the weekly updates that come from Outfront. There is some great stuff in there, so hopefully everybody is utilizing that to see that. Also, why isn't it switching screens? There we go. All right. Also, there's some information on the Outfront with the new toolkit and different things that you can do in there, which we will be getting into more as we go a little bit deeper dive into this. We're going to just quickly do a few market center updates. Amy, are you on here?
I am, yes.
Yoo-hoo. I know
So
she was there earlier.
I didn't have my
Right,
camera.
I'm going to jump in. Amy, if you are on, please.
I see her microphone moving, but I don't hear her.
You don't,
Can anybody else hear her?
can you hear me?
Oh, you can hear Amy?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We can't hear you. Can you hear her?
Your phone.
Long as you guys can hear me. So I am on here today. Carrie reached out to me because I had posted on the Facebook page about volunteering, and I am on the ALC this year, and that's kind of my big thing this year. I really felt it coming last year, and I really feel like we as agents have a responsibility, and we can make a huge impact in our communities. So tomorrow morning, we will have the first meeting. We'll have them on Wednesday mornings, typically at 9 a.m. So that it's not getting in the way of any lead generation or anything like that. But we do have a meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. for some of us in the market center that have to be there. So tomorrow it will be at 10 a.m. And we're just gonna kind of go over briefly, it's not gonna be really long, about what my goals are for this team, for this crew of people, and how we can make an impact, not just in Roseville, not just in Minneapolis, not in St. Paul, but in all of our communities. So I hope that you'll join me. The Zoom meeting link is actually in the Facebook post that I put on KW Rockstars. So I hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Amy, for doing that.
Honey, you always thank me, and like that's not something that I ever need a thank you for. Like I just feel like people should be doing it. So
Well,
You
we do
will take
appreciate
our
you.
gratitude
Thank
and you
you.
will like it.
We appreciate you. Couple other quick Market Center updates. When you're coming into the Market Center, start watching for later this week. You'll start seeing some lobby updates on the TV screen. We're going to start scrolling some different things on there. So you'll start seeing welcomes with new agents so that, you know, as you come into the Market Center and you can welcome them as you see them if we haven't introduced them on the team meetings yet. Calendar events will start showing up, as well as our agent of the week. I think previously we had done agents by day that were out there, but we're now moving it to more of an agent of the week. So they'll start and they'll run like Monday through Sunday, and you'll have an agent that can be your main contact, kind of your first point of, you need help with something, you have a quick question with something. An agent who is one of those top producers, someone who's been in the business, really help answer those questions. So that will be a great go-to for everyone that's needing that if you can't reach one of us on the leadership team.
Can I make another suggestion?
Yes.
We have so many multicultural and international agents at our office. Our office has one of the largest numbers. If we could also put up, if there's a festival from that person's country, culture, religion,
Yes.
could we just acknowledge it and just make it's really fun.
Yes, no, definitely.
Okay.
Yep, definitely. And I
And,
appreciate the stuff.
Carolyn, I think that's a great idea.
I will help. Heather Eddington already has a social media calendar, and I can help her and Jordan plug in. But it would be nice to reach out to individual agents and see which festival would you like represented up there. Thank you for your time. Sorry, Andy.
Perfect. Yeah, that's okay.
No, that's good.
And just a quick update for the agent of the week, you guys. That is also on our Google training calendar. So for any agents that are just looking for additional support, additional questions, and they're just having a hard time getting a hold of somebody, check that out and you will see our ALC members who are our agents of the week. You'll find their name and their phone number. So you can reach out to them with any questions.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. If you have not signed up yet, starting tomorrow, obviously there is career visioning. They're taking a 3-day course, popping into 2 days. I have done one of them. They were phenomenal. John Schumacher is doing this Wednesday, Thursday. So if you haven't signed up, you might still be able to hop into that class, running Wednesday and Thursday from 9 to 4 for $99. Otherwise, if you didn't get into that and you really want to do this, which I do highly recommend, they're going over the 30, 60, 90, the making sure that you're hiring the right people, building your team and keeping that going. Jean Rivers is doing one next Tuesday and Wednesday, the 26th and 27th, that again, both phenomenal instructors. So if you want to hop into one of those, I would highly recommend it. If you need that link and can't find it, let me know, but it is on the calendars. But I can also get that out to you as well. Oops, I need to move that, sorry. Yeah, that's what I say, I have to move it because I can't see. And then next week too, on Thursday, the 28th, we have Jen Minder is going to be starting with the 36 touch, creating your marketing plan for 2021, based on the 36 marketing touch plan from the MREA. So I would just highly recommend that as well. That is a great kind of, especially here we are with the new year. So great time to be hopping in and getting into that.
I'm sorry, I don't want to butt in. I just want to make sure it's still happening because I have it on my calendar because I wasn't able to do the John Schumacher, and unfortunately, but fortunately, I'll be on vacation during Jean Rivers. But is Travis doing the the points of hiring an admin on Thursday at 9 a.m.?
He is, yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I have it on my
That is
calendar.
the last of his systems training this Thursday at 9. Hiring an admin. So anyone looking to make their first hire or making an additional hire to their team, definitely join us on Thursday for Travis's hire an admin systems training.
Perfect.
Uh, can I speak for 2 minutes or 1 minute?
Of course.
So there have been several reports about what's going to happen tomorrow in the city, etc. Whether it's happening or not is besides the point. But if there are any BIPOC realtors who feel unsupported or need a shoulder to cry on, I just want you guys to know I'm there. There are plenty of us also who you can reach out to if you're more comfortable with them. But I just want to know that as a social equity task force ambassador, I'm well aware. I've had several realtors from other KW brokerages and Coldwell Banker, ironically enough, reach out to me. So please, and I would like whoever's on the call today, if we could also just, if you know of any BIPOC realtors out there who needs your help or support, please reach out to them and just ask them, how can I make you feel a little bit more supported? Because between now and tomorrow, there's a lot of nonsense going on. Like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's happening or not. Just telling that person that you're there would be phenomenal. Thank you. I love you all.
We love you, Sherilyn. We appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, now let's get an update from Heather.
Yeah, so we're just gonna wrap up the team meeting with, I don't know if you guys heard about this really awesome awards dinner we're having or not. I don't know if I've been annoying enough, but we have our Warsies virtual awards dinner this Thursday. Woo! So unfortunately, I know we can't celebrate in person, but we are so happy that we can still host this event. For those of you that are new with us, this is an annual celebration we have every year to celebrate our agents, your production, your success, your leadership, our culture, just a great opportunity for us to come together, socialize, and just have fun and be together. So we are doing this all virtually this year. So this is how it's going to work. Those of you that are receiving an award have been notified, so check your emails. And whether you're not receiving an award or not, please join us because we're still going to have a lot of fun. So you'll come to the Market Center on Thursday between 12 and 3 to pick up your award, your take and bake meal if you RSVP'd for one, and then we're going to have our backdrop set up in the front lobby. It's going to be fun and festive with balloons. So we'll take pictures. If you have a team, please come in with your team as well. We'll get you set up as well. And then we're all going to go home. And at 4:30, we're going to jump on the Zoom call. At 4:30, we're going to have a little social hour. We're going to announce the raffle winners. So make sure that you're purchasing your virtual raffle tickets in advance. And those are $25 per entry. So for every $25 you donate, you get an entry into the raffle. And we have 4 amazing prizes. If you can go to the next screen. So we have our Fichters North Shore Getaway. It's a one-night stay at the Fichters Hotel, $200 spending as you'd like in Duluth on supporting those local businesses, and then $300 to the historic Fichters Complex. If you guys haven't been there, they have tons of shops, dining options. They have a spa, so you can use that as you'd like there. We also have a gorgeous Minnesota Makers gift basket. So everything in this basket is from local Minnesota businesses, including 2 of our very own agents. So Jeff Zietler owns Urban Forage Cider and Winery. So we have a couple bottles of his cider and wine. Kelsey Heimrel has a charcuterie. Did I finally say it right?
You did.
Yay! I said it right. And so we have this adorable little picnic box that's in there, and then some other really good stuff. Matt and Jen have graciously donated $300 to the Minnesota Wild Hockey Lodge. And we have a really nice Cutco knife set as well. So we'll be drawing those names at 4:30 on Thursday. And then 5 o'clock, we'll get started with our awards ceremony. Yeah, and we are just really excited to see everybody there. Yeah, family, friends. I am so amazed by the attendance, even though it's virtual. We have 75 plus of our Market Center coming. So for those of you that didn't RSVP it, that is okay. You can still come. So I hope to see everybody there. I'm looking forward to celebrating with you all.
Awesome.
Oh, and yeah, if you didn't see my post, I got really teary-eyed last night. That's the woman in me. But we exceeded our fundraising goal of 2,000. I thought I didn't know if I was putting that too high or not. But we exceeded that, and I think we're actually going to go way over by the time Thursday comes. So just a huge thank you to all of you guys. I'm so honored to seriously be in business. I know you hear that word a lot, but truly, I am so grateful for all of you. So thank you for your kind and generous hearts, and let's keep that money rolling in for the next.
Hey, Heather, can
3
you
days.
just briefly skim kind of what AHA does and
you.
what kind of impact that this money can do, maybe for the newer agents that don't know, and maybe for some of the older agents that never really heard it?
Yes, of course. So many of you have heard of KW Cares, and that is somewhere where you can donate nationally, and those funds help agents all over the world. And we also have our AHA fund, our Agents Helping Agents. So it's like our own little mini KW Cares fund, but for our market center specifically. And so those funds are given to agents that are in need within our market center. So those people that you see and talk to every single day. If they're ever going through a hardship, no matter what it may be, whether it's for them or their families. So that the money we're specifically raising right now for our raffle is going towards our Market Center AHA fund.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know if you touched on this, but can you, if we're directing portions of our commission check to KW Cares, can you collect for the AHA fund instead, or no?
We certainly can. Carrie, do you want to speak on how they can do that?
So I'll send, there should be, and I apologize, all of a sudden not looking at it, but there is actually a place where you can designate that when you're doing the commission breakout. And what I'll do is when I get back to my office, I'll do just a quick screenshot and exactly where you should be doing that, and then send that out to everybody so you see that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've never found that, and I've actually looked for that.
Yep, it's something, and Lynn, so I apologize that I haven't looked to see if specific. It is something we have to add as a market center that we set up. So maybe it's not set up in our particular market center. So it's just a quick tweak and we can go in and put that in there so that that's where you can set that up to go to.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And just a couple, I'm going to touch on this because I think we actually are at time here. But these are a couple of things that you're going to hear. I'm going to be kind of really honing in on these things over the next few weeks again, using a transaction coordinator, the benefits to your business in doing so. And we have a fantastic one. No, it's not this gal up here who's losing her mind. That's you guys. It's this guy down here in the corner, Shannon Hires. So that's a great thing to be using. We're going to really get deeper into command over the next few months here and really dialing into some training in the market center at all different levels, from the beginning level through those that are doing campaigns, that are doing all your digital ads, et cetera. So we'll really get into that. Keller Mortgage and the benefits to that and your clients, as well as the Scott Leroy marketing and what they can offer to you. That'll be another big one. That's fine. New to command, just kind of something that you'll see is setting your goals. So that is, we're going to put together an event where we're going to, for those of you that have not set goals in command, you can do that. We can do it as a group together, kind of brainstorm and talk through it. So that will be coming up. As well as, I don't know if this is going to hit, but you know what, I can pop on that one. Our last one, we'll talk about at the next meeting. I love their music. I know, especially when you're sitting in front. It's like, you can feel it in your stomach. I love that feeling. No, it's like my favorite part. All right, So big thing is family reunion coming up. We really want to get participation here, not just for us, but for you guys and for your business and what it can do for you. So we're going to have a lot of that coming here in the definitely next couple of weeks. You'll hear that from all of us kind of as a big thing. Also, while it's going to be digital, there are going to be breakout areas here in the Market Center where we're going to promote that. We're going to give you that Vegas feeling right in the Market Center. So be sure to kind of be watching for things coming. And family reunion is, you definitely do want to be a part of this. For anybody that has not yet purchased tickets and you want to, talk to us if you have questions too. Let's get out there, get a big group together. This will be an amazing event. This will definitely be great and changing for your business.
And I just, to make a point to all the new agents, definitely sign up this year. Do this. Because typically this ticket is so much more along with airfare and a hotel. And this year it's digitally and it's a lot cheaper and you get all the benefits. So do it.
Definitely. 26 days away, guys. So start planning now, get together, get your tickets because it's gonna be awesome. And I think.
Oh, and it's a tax write-off, people. So if you're new in business, you write it off on your taxes at the end of the year.
Okay. All right. So I think that is all we have for right now. Thank you to everybody for joining us, for all that you do for the Market Center. We greatly appreciate you. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.